My godfather was into meditation and yoga, but I never did it with him. And he was kind of like I'm gonna say the black sheep of the family. He was kind of like the one that we listened to, but then we would kind of make fun of, like, okay, he's kind of weird. He's pescatarian. He meditates. He does yoga. Because you got to imagine that that was dating back to the 80s. So when it wasn't the trend. So I don't know if some of that kind of seeped in because I never felt a connection with him around that topic. I actually felt more of a polarity because we kind of made fun of it and we just thought he's a little bit strange and okay, that's the thing he does.
Thank you so much for joining us on another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beats. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and bioenergetic practitioner, and today is brought to you by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, and highly effective approach to optimize wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better based life in your hands and on your wrist. Make sure to stick to the very end because we have a wonderful giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But you're not going to want to miss out on one word that my next guest has to say. I've met him several times personally. I've heard him speak, and I know you guys are just in for a huge treat today. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Vincent Pedre, yay, to the show.
Hey, hey, how are you? Nice to see you.
You as well. How you been? How are things?
Things are great. It was a great end to 2025 and feeling supercharged for the year of the fire horse coming up.
Right? Amazing stuff. So where are you calling in from today?
New York City.
New York. Okay, okay. So this is a Canadian-based company. I'm an American, but living in Mexico right now. So I just love that we can, get the whole North America, in one spot. So yay, New York.
Yeah.
All right. Probably very cold, no?
It's not too bad, but it's about to get pretty cold again in the next
I,
few days.
I have to laugh at my son who's still in Colorado, and he's like, "It's so cold." I'm like, "It's 80 degrees here." But tell us a little
Unbelievable.
bit about, because I know we're going to be talking about toxins and sabotaging your gut and your brain. Usually there's some sort of a pain to purpose story kind of involved with a lot of these awakenings. And so I'd love to know your story, how you became a doctor, why should we care? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I actually almost didn't want to become a doctor because I was afraid of needles, but ended up kind of going down the rabbit hole of the vagus nerve and parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system and figuring out that I could conquer my fear through meditation and breath work. And I did that at the age of 21 before becoming a doctor. But I say that because it colored my journey into becoming a medical doctor in a standard Western medical school because before I started medical school, I was already seeing the power of things that were outside of medicine, just using breath work and meditation to rewire the brain and calm the nervous system. So I always knew that I wanted to be a more alternative healer, integrative physician. I just didn't know which way the path would go. And somehow I found myself into the gut space. I actually didn't give a lot of importance to it, but I had IBS in my 20s as a result of having been on 20 plus rounds of antibiotics during my teens, had completely destroyed my gut microbiome. And I had developed all sorts of food sensitivities that I didn't know existed. I was eating all the wrong foods and then wondering why I just didn't feel quite right. So it wasn't until I discovered functional medicine and went down that rabbit hole that I figured out all of the underlying causes. And honestly, I wasn't trying to be a gut expert. I was just doing what I loved and found that uh, it was just the tip of the iceberg for people. This was the early 2000s, and I think we've just seen this incredible like increase in gut issues since then because of all the hidden toxins, the things that it's almost like a minefield out there. And the thing is that these things aren't obvious. So that became my passion, and I wrote my first book. Actually, just celebrated 10 years in at the end of December. Happy Gut, and it's just been like an amazing journey since then because I get to do what I love, and I help people transform their health from the bottom up, root cause medicine rather than band-aid medicine with medications. So that's how I got here.
Well, and that's incredible because I mean, you were talking about breath work and meditation back when you were 21. So, I mean, it's a kind of a buzzword now and it's a lot more accepted and heard of and people know and there's conferences and there's retreats, but back then, like that's pretty damn impressive. Like where was your first experience with that? Like how did you even know to look into something like that? Was it an upbringing or did you have a friend? Like how did you know?
Not at all. Not at all. My godfather was into meditation and yoga, but I never did it with him. And he was kind of like I'm gonna say the black sheep of the family. He was kind of like the one that we listened to, but then we were kind of make fun of, like, okay, he's kind of weird. He's pescatarian. He meditates. He does yoga. Because you got to imagine that that was dating back to the 80s. So when it wasn't the trend. So I don't know if some of that kind of seeped in because I never felt a connection with him around that topic. I actually felt more of a polarity because we kind of made fun of it and we just thought he's a little bit strange and okay, that's the thing he does. So fast forward, I get into med school and I'm thinking like, wait a second, I'm afraid of needles. How am I going to become a doctor? Like this is a seeming impossibility. But I didn't think about like how am I going to medicate this away? I thought like, well, how can I work with my body to figure out what is it that's happening when I'm in a room with a needle and they're about to draw my blood and my heart starts racing. I break out into a cold sweat. I start feeling dizzy and next thing I know I'm blacking out. So back then, no internet, so it's either library or bookstore. I preferred going to the bookstore, so I would just go to the bookstore and look at different types of books. And really, my entry point was a book called The Relaxation Response, which has been a bestseller and translated to multiple languages worldwide. And I think for me at that time, it was written by a Harvard doctor, an MD, and he was talking about breath work and meditation from the point of view of medical. Like they were doing studies and finding that they could get people's blood pressure to drop just by using breath work and meditation. So I started doing the exercises in the book, and then that kind of led me down to guided meditation. So I was buying CDs with guided meditations that I would listen to. And then I just kept like going deeper and deeper into it. And 8 months later, I had to get my Hep B vaccine series and I didn't pass out. And I knew, wow, I shifted something. And you can imagine someone who goes to medical school is going to be pretty type A, competitive. You've got to rise to the top. You've got to get the highest grades possible. It's a very competitive field to get into med school. And I went from being this type A worrier, like mind, monkey brain, to just feeling calm inside and out. So I started in January of 2020 of 1995 and meditating, and then med school started in August, 8 months later, and my friends used to call me the Zen guy, which was just so funny because I was nothing close to Zen 8 months before. I was a worrywart, stressed all the time, always like worried about getting the best grades. And so it was really surprising to me because I wasn't expecting what happened. It reprogrammed my brain.
That's incredible. I'm going to have the head chief medical officer of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work on the show here in a couple of months. And, I just love that we're actually putting quantitative, scientific things, they're testing saliva and stool and and blood, and looking at all these different markers and how breathwork and meditation is actually, moving the needle on these things. And so I just find this stuff so fascinating, and I think it's great that we're having more and more of this type of work come out. So on this note, this is a great spot. We're going to pause real quick. When we come back, we're going to dive deeper into the hidden toxins sabotaging your gut and your brain, and what can we do about it? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki is your personal wellness companion, a sleek, wearable device that lets you choose from a variety of programs to match your day. With a simple tap on the Nikki screen, you can explore wellness programs created for different moments and lifestyles. Need a lift? Select energy. Looking to unwind? Tap stress and anxiety. Want to feel more at ease? Choose pain. Heading out on a trip? Try travel to help you feel ready for new adventures. From busy mornings to quiet evenings, Nikki puts a variety of wellness experiences right at your fingertips and on your wrist. Life moves fast. Nikki moves with you. It's a portable way to bring wellness technology into your everyday routine, wherever life takes you. Your day, your choice, your wellness program. Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are Nikki.com.
Fantastic. Welcome back. Well, that was an awesome first part. I'm so excited to jump in deeper, right? Learn a little bit more. What are these hidden toxins that are sabotaging? Because yes, they're out there, folks. Unfortunately, living in another country now, I'm starting to learn that, a lot of the food that the United States has is actually banned in quite a few other countries, chemicals and stuff that we put in. And so we can no longer put our heads in sand and think that just because it's on the shelf, it's good for us. So, Dr. Vincent, tell us a little bit about some of the toxins that you have found that are to be some of the biggest offenders when it comes to your gut and your brain.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what you just said. Pesticides, glyphosate. And the interesting thing is that over the years, I've done a lot of toxin testing on my patients. And even people who are living a pretty clean, organic life are not immune from being exposed to pesticides because maybe your neighbor is spraying a weed killer on the lawn and you inhale it, but then that gets into your digestive tract. I had a pilot who was super healthy, lived in California. So when at home, eating organic, eating very clean, but when traveling, picking up a bagel, picking up a pizza. And it was really surprising because he was, to me, like a model of health, like totally fit guy, super healthy, eats clean, and yet glyphosate level turned up high. So these are things we can't taste. We don't know that they're there. We don't know that they're in our food. And they not only disrupt the gut and cause what we call leaky gut, but then leads to inflammation, weight gain, insulin resistance, all those things. So that's probably one of the biggest hidden toxins. But then there's mycotoxins from mold. And that can be that you're living in a moldy house and you didn't realize that there was a water leak under your kitchen cabinet maybe a few years before. And now mold is growing there and it's releasing mycotoxins into the air and you inhale them, but you can also swallow them. They also disrupt the gut and get into not just the gut, but also if you have leaky gut for other reasons, you're stressed, you've been on antibiotics, then get to the brain and cause a lot of brain fog, fatigue. But it doesn't only have to be environmental, which is really interesting because as I just kind of like keep diving deeper and deeper into these topics, and you encounter the patients that are doing everything right, right, quote unquote, and yet they're still not getting better. So then you have to start really like peeling away the layers of the onion and seeing like, well, what else could be going on? And lo and behold, you can get mycotoxins from grains, but also from coffee. Coffee beans are very prone to getting moldy, especially if they're low grade, low quality beans. So when you think like you're saving money by buying a cheaper cup of coffee, you might actually be drinking mycotoxins with that coffee. And I found this in a patient who was mold sensitive, had yeast overgrowth in her gut, and was actually getting a lot of brain fog when drinking coffee. We figured out that it was ochratoxin A in the coffee, switched that, and she started feeling better. We dealt with the yeast in the gut, which can be very surreptitious. Like it's very easy to overgrow yeast in your digestive tract and not even know that it's there. But it was really also the inspiration for why I came out with my own coffee, Happy Gut Coffee, which is tested for mycotoxins, for pesticides, for glyphosate, for all those hidden toxins that people don't realize they're ingesting. I call them the micro habits. It's like the things that we do every day that we don't, because they're so normalized, we don't think that they could be harming us. But it's those little things that you do every day that could actually be exposing you to toxins that are not just bad for your gut, but also to the brain. Then there's food related issues that might come up that also can cause brain fog, fatigue. The biggest one being gluten. Gluten is an inflammatory molecule for a lot of people. I know if we went back like 20 years, people were like, "Oh, this is a fad." Like now everybody's like gluten, gluten this, like gluten-free diet. But really, the research has caught up, showing things like that gluten increases intestinal permeability, causing leaky gut. And yeah, it's not going to be the same for everyone. It's just like not everyone gets autoimmune thyroid disease. Not everyone gets another type of autoimmune disease. Everybody has different types of susceptibility. And that's the same for these hidden toxins. Some people are going to be more sensitive than others. But by and large, everybody is sensitive. And I'm sure you have something to say here about one of these things.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like the canary in the coal mine, God bless me, because of all the crappy genetics and the broken this and the broken that. And so, I've been on this path for quite some time myself. The glyphosate thing too, like it kills me because we're also starting to learn what it's doing to our pollinators, a lot of this forever chemicals that are harming us, that are also harming our environment. I still don't understand why this stuff is still legal, why it's still on the shelves, why we can still put this out there. But I'm glad that we have people like yourself on the show, talking about it because I'm hoping that if more people hear it over and over and over again, they'll be like, oh, that's poison. We shouldn't be using that, right?
Yeah, and maybe you don't realize because you're kind of like super functioning, but you're not really paying attention to the fact that you are kind of tired and that maybe your brain isn't functioning isn't as sharp as it used to be. And it's not all hormones. It could be hormones, it could be menopause, it could be perimenopause, but it could also be hidden toxins that are affecting things like your mitochondria, which are the energy powerhouses in every cell that power everything, gene expression, the creation of proteins, enzymes, all the things that the cell needs to do. And these toxins, a lot of them target mitochondria.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
And it frustrates me because all too often, especially women, we get told it's either hormones or it's aging, and yes, that could be one part of the puzzle, but you got to keep digging because there's usually multiple pieces to the puzzle when it comes to health stuff. And all too often we're like that frog in the pot analogy, right? Where we just slowly turn up the heat and people don't even realize that we've got these four different symptoms now that they've been living with for the past 5 years. And oh, it's just age. No, it's not. You don't have to live.
it's not, and I think you have to have a really wide net to understand. And still, I'm surprised by some of the results that I see. Like a patient I'm working with who's 62-year-old woman, so postmenopausal, lots of brain fog, exposure to moldy homes, mycotoxins, and nothing was helping that. Like she was on hormones, still lots of brain fog. And we put her on a mitochondrial repair protocol because we found that her mitochondria were underperforming. And within 3 months Actually, within the first 4 to 6 weeks, she started having moments of clarity that she said she hadn't felt in 10 years. 4 months into the protocol, she says that for the first time since her 20s, she feels like she has the mental clarity that she used to have 40 years before. So it's it's totally possible to reverse, what we would call aging, but it also shows that not everything is hormones because she was on hormones. And yet, the missing link, and I didn't tell the whole story because we did gut testing. She had a parasite, so we treated the parasite. We started working on leaky gut, repairing the gut, and then we started working on mitochondrial health. And putting all of that together, her brain came back online. And the last time I saw her, she said, I feel like my brain is as clear as it was back in my 20s. And she was like, she was almost upset or even just sad because she's like, I can't believe I've lived the last 40 years like this.
Well, and she would have continued to live another 30 years, 40 years, continuing like this, just thinking that it's normal, right? It's a part of aging. It's just, and that's the part that makes me so sad. But tell us, so what are some of your favorite labs that you like to run?
I love stool testing. I sometimes, stool PCR testing. One of my favorite labs is Vibrant, so I use a lot of their testing. There's also
Like the total
Cyrix.
box.
The Total Talk screen, I think, is I love it because it's one of the most comprehensive. I use their food sensitivities. I also really love this company called Me Screen. So that's a mitochondrial function test.
Ooh,
And that one gives a lot of really great, actionable information about what's happening with the mitochondria and how they're handling things like reactive oxygen species, which are oxidating, right? They cause some damage, but they're also helpful. Like you do need some reactive oxygen species for intracellular signaling. You just need things to be controlled. So, and the great thing about these things is, you can do before and afters and you can track how people are doing with everything. I haven't gotten a lot into looking at microplastics yet. I think there's still some challenges in checking that, although you do get BPA on the total tox screen. But I think that's something important that we should start looking at because they say like the amount of plastics in human brain has increased by like 18% in the last 8 years or something like that. So those are some of my top go-to labs, food sensitivities, stool PCR. And I feel like that gives me a really, and then of course, sorry, I missed hormone testing. And a lot of times I'll look at cortisol, metabolites. I love the Dutch test, the Dutch Complete. Those are all really great functional labs that give you like a really good holistic picture of what's happening with the person.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So we're getting close to the end here. So what's just a couple actionable items that people can take away from your talk today? And then we'll get into the shameless plug time of the show where people, tell people about yourself, where they can find you.
Yeah, I would say one quick actionable step if you haven't ever tried this because it's such a gut disruptor is take gluten out of your diet for 6 weeks. And during that time, log how you're feeling, not just in your body, your gut, but also your brain, your mental clarity, your energy. Um, Avoid needless antibiotics. Like really try to stay off of antibiotics because probably one of the biggest gut disruptors is going on a round of antibiotics. And it can take up to 6 months, even 12 months to recover from one 5-day round of antibiotics. So everyone who thinks like, oh, you go to the doctor and you say, just give me a Z pack so I can knock this cold out. Well, that Z pack is going to mess up your gut microbiome for 6 months. And if you stack that in with another Z pack within 6 months, now you're really starting to mess your gut microbiome. That leads to dysbiosis, imbalance of good and bad bugs, and then leaky gut and inflammation. So those are Those are some of the top ones, and then buy organic. As much as you can, be aware of where your food comes from, the meats that you eat, be aware of what they ate, how they were raised, as best you can. Eat real foods and try not to eat things that are overpackaged or overprocessed.
Ah, 100%. That's beautiful. And how can people find you?
Biggest thing is Instagram at Dr. Pedre, Drpedre. And they can learn more about the coffee and some of the other things that I do at happygutcoffee.com.
Awesome. Make sure all this stuff will be in the show notes. Also, to make sure to go to wearenikki.com/podcast, enter in BioBeats to get 10% off your Nikki. But because we love our customers so much, the way we show appreciation is we give away a free Nikki device and a 1-year wellness membership to our wellness store. Let's give a big shout out to January's winner, Rachel Rex. Yay! Congratulations. You won a free Nikki device and a 1-year subscription to our wellness store. Now, don't fret if you did not win. There's always another chance. So make sure to keep listening, keep entering, like, share, subscribe, and congratulations to Rachel Rex. But make sure to go to the show notes to enter. Good luck. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to have a healthy day.
What is the wellness store, you ask? Let me tell you. Imagine a single place where every Nikki Wellness program, present and future, are ready whenever you are. The Nikki Wellness Store turns that vision into reality, offering a membership that keeps you connected to the most complete library of wellness support programs we've ever created. One membership, infinite access. With a Nikki Wellness Store membership, unlimited access to the full Nikki Wellness library, automatic updates as new programs are released, the freedom to create personalized daily playlists on the Nikki Connect app, and we continually design new programs. Your membership will grow with you at no additional cost. Because wellness technology never stops improving, and neither do you. It's more than a membership. Every wellness store membership begins with the purchase of their Nikki Wellness Technology, a wearable device that delivers wellness programs wherever life takes you. Your membership includes 1 full year of unlimited access to the complete wellness library and all future program releases. After the first year, your access continues with a simple annual renewal fee, so your library and collaborations with trusted global innovators keeps growing without interruption. This isn't just an upward, it's a movement toward a future where wellness technology never stops improving, because neither do you. Join the movement. The Nikki Wellness Store isn't just a milestone, it's the future of wellness designed for freedom, value, and constant growth. New customers that join us will automatically get 1-year membership to the Nikki Wellness Store. Current customers that have already owned a Nikki, you will be grandfathered in and given a 2-year membership. And that's a thank you for walking with us for all this time.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki is your personal wellness companion, a sleek wearable device that lets you choose from a variety of programs to match your day. With a simple tap on the Nikki screen, you can explore wellness programs created for different moments and lifestyles. Need a lift? Select energy. Looking to unwind? Tap stress and anxiety. Want to feel more at ease? Choose pain. Heading out on a trip? Try travel to help you feel ready for new adventures. From busy mornings to quiet evenings, Nikki puts a variety of wellness experiences right at your fingertips and on your wrist. Life moves fast. Nikki moves with you. It's a portable way to bring wellness technology into your everyday routine, wherever life takes you. Your day, your choice, your wellness program. Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency-enhanced health. wearenikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of FreeMedica. FreeMedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.